It is said that the WNBA and ESPN are going berserk while Caitlin Clark is enjoying the time of her life on the green at the Pro AM event.
Now, with Caitlin Clark enjoying her off-season, hanging out with friends, making TikToks, playing golf, the WNBA continues to throw shade at her.
They simply can't seem to take the fact that Caitlin Clark is having fun because the golf community is treating her like the superstar she is.
It was great. I think the cool thing about that is just you felt the energy in the room, the amount of women sitting in there and so passionate about being a leader in their space, whether it was sport, whether it's business, whatever it is. I think that was what's so cool about it, and obviously.
Or is it something more? Dark and menacing, to be honest. I am not letting the WNBA ruin my mood because I am happy that Caitlin Clark is finally receiving the treatment she deserves. However, before we get into the specifics, let's talk about Caitlin Clark and her incredible debut into the golf world. Stay tuned until the end, because I will be revealing all the dark secrets of WNBA and ESPN behind their blind hatred of Caitlin Clark.
Because we know in the WNBA, when it came to Caitlin Clark, it was a lot of like, we don't need you and we were good before and we don't like your fans and this, that, and everything. Just absolutely anything that could have, that they could have done, they did. Like they did everything they could to sabotage their own league.
Caitlin Clark's performance in the Prom is a cultural moment rather than merely a basketball player trying her hand at golf.
Caitlin Clark's golf debut just made me so upset with the WNBA. It is the fault of the WNBA because the LPGA just did everything that the WNBA should have been doing this season. They did it all correct in literally one day.
That's true. In contrast to the WNBA, the LPGA is doing everything right for Caitlin Clark, including providing her with a stage and marketing her in front of the audience. Her amazing attendance at the event isn't just drawing attention, it's solidifying her reputation as a multi-sport phenomenon, and rightfully so.
But this time, people are talking about Caitlin Clark, who participated in the Pro-Am and was alongside Nelly Korda and Annika Sorenstam. And apparently it looks like she had a really good time.
However, the WNBA and ESPN appear more concerned in pouting over her increasing popularity and refusing to give her credit than in acknowledging her crossover appeal.
And last but not least, Caitlin Clark. Ladies, let me tell y'all something. You got to sit up there and pay attention to the rising tide. It lifts all boats. Her. Yeah. Right there. Right there. That girl right there. That's who deserves it. That's her. Right there. Give her credit.
When it comes to Caitlin Clark, ESPN's infamous practice of disparaging superstars and downplaying their accomplishments went too far.
Over the past few months, we have talked a lot about the jealousy and resentment of Caitlin Clark amongst other dump divers in the WNBA.
And a number of analysts have also called out the WNBA for their slanted reporting and flagrant mistreatment of the most prominent female athlete in recent history.
At this point, it is no longer up for debate. Vast majority of WNBA players, they are jealous of Caitlin Clark. However, the resentment part of the equation, not the jealousy part, but the resentment part of the equation, it seems to be extending to women in the mainstream sports media.
That's right. The WNBA appears to be the only organization that harbors animosity and hostility toward Caitlin Clark, and ESPN's basketball coverage is a prime illustration of this corruption.
I know ESPN claims to be the proud home of the WNBA, but the supposed worldwide leader in woke, they ignore the rest of the league and they mainly focus on Caitlin Clark. Because even ESPN knows people do not care about the WNBA. I know it sounds harsh. I'm sure feminists watching this video will accuse me of misogyny and toxic masculinity, but the truth does not care about your feelings.
That's right. Since Caitlin Clark was the one who attracted more viewers, SP sponsors, and TV ratings than anybody else in the franchise's history, many of the new people who began watching the WNBA were already WNBA fans.
I mean, it's just more proof of the impact and motion, as the kids say, that Caitlin Clark has. She's at this LPGA golf event, has me paying attention. I don't watch golf.
However, these officials appear determined to overlook Caitlin Clark and her stellar reputation in women's sports and the WNBA.
None of it addresses my point. My point is, she's the golden goose. You have been clamoring for attention. You've been clamoring for more cachet, fair and equitable treatment, chartered jets, weight room facilities, dollars, marketing opportunities, etc., etc., etc.
Why is ESPN making such a concerted effort to disparage Caitlin Clark and her contribution to WNBA franchise expansion?
All the other nonsense that they should never have been dealing with. Monica, it is about time.
Molly, I'm going to take a cue from you. As you thanked the audience.
Yeah.
Yes. Let's discuss Monica McNutt, an ESPN writer who was largely unknown before to becoming involved in a significant incident.
How many of you guys have ever heard of Monica McNutt? Don't feel bad if you haven't. Monica, she has spent the last 5 years at ESPN analyzing the WNBA. According to Stephen A. Smith, she is one of the best, if not the best, analyst in pretend basketball.
What's the story? Because she represents the real-life example of what ESPN is aiming for these days. Hating Seton Clark, Monica is an intriguing figure.
Until this year, Monica McNutt, she was probably the only WNBA analyst at ESPN. 5 years working at ESPN, and Monica McNutt has been completely unknown. She can spend hours in the grocery store unrecognized. When she boards the coach flight at the airport, identification is required at every checkpoint.
It appears that Monica and her ESN network supervisors are not too pleased with Caitlin's recent rise in popularity and notoriety.
But over the past week, Monica McNutt's career, it has been propelled into the mainstream. Why? Caitlin Clark. The same Caitlin Clark that Monica McNutt seems to have a deep-seated resentment for. It all started last week with a heated debate on First Take. Long story short, Monica McNutt is bitter that all the attention in the WNBA is being given to Caitlin Clark, and rightfully so. She also accused Stephen A. Smith of not using his platform to promote the dump.
That's right. In addition to being displeased with Clark's circumstances, Monica is also angry with veteran sports analyst Stephen A. Smith for not doing enough to promote the WNBA.
Understand that, but she cannot be babied as a rookie. That's all I'm at.
Who talks about the WNBA? Who talks about women? Who talk about women's sports more than First Take?
Stephen A., respectfully, with your platform, you could have been doing this 3 years ago if you wanted to.
All right, we gotta go. You guys.
So did
You know you're my guy, but
who does more than
Stephen A., I'm talking to you. I'm talking to you.
Wow.
Don't do that. I'm talking to you about the power that you have.
Okay.
I'm talking to you.
Okay.
Isn't that unbelievable? After everything was said and done on the EPSN broadcast, Stephen wasn't going to let Monica McNutt get away with these obvious accusations. So he fired back at her and her ESN bosses, slamming them for their blind hatred against Clark and her supporters like himself. If you thought that Monica McNutt's accusation of Stephen Smith sidelining the WNBA in front of the entire world was the end of the story, there's more drama ahead.
What she said is blatantly false. I'm not accusing her of lying. I'm accusing her of not knowing. Because she's not a liar. She's an honorable person. She must not have known. The WNBA, could I have done more? Well, guess what, Monica McNutt? I could have done less. Who's done more? Hell, a legitimate argument could be made that the WNBA wasn't doing it for themselves. For themselves.
That must have wounded Stephen a lot. Smith upset ESPN and did all in his power to refute their falsehoods. He said that the WNBA isn't doing enough to attract sponsors and TV viewers.
I have been covering the constant struggles of the WNBA for years now. They are constantly having to empty the porta potties in the dump because I am always shitting on this league. But since the passionate lecture she gave Stephen A. Smith last week, Monica McNutt, she is propelled into the mainstream. You told him, girl. Put that man in his place, girl. Girl power. Woohoo!
Furthermore, Stephen A. Smith is entirely correct in saying that the WNBA officials alone bear sole responsibility for the organization's collapse and obvious demise.
The ultimate myth of girl power. For decades, men have been blamed for the failures of women in sports. 28 years of irrelevance in the WNBA, it has been blamed on misogyny. Men don't want to see strong women succeed. When the truth is, there are women who don't want to see other women succeed.
Utterly accurate, the only reason the WNBA hasn't gained widespread recognition is because its female athletes are too envious to watch a rising star like Clark receive all the limelight.
The commissioner of the WNBA came on First Take to thank us for what we was doing for the WNBA. Who else was doing it? Where were these people at?
Stephen Smith is certain about his position, claiming that he and other commentators have accomplished more than these so-called WNBA feminists, and that the only thing the players have done is quarrel with one another.
For the past week, I have watched dudes like Stephen A. Smith and Shannon Sharpe praise Caitlin Clark for lifting the WNBA out of irrelevance. And I have watched women like Monica McNutt and Andrea Carter try to diminish her. Stephen A. and Shannon Sharpe. Hey, it's me, Shay. Shay and A. They get it. They see the big picture. They realize that this is the WNBA's only chance at success.
The WNBA can only succeed under Caitlin Clark's leadership, as acknowledged by Stephen Smith, Shannon Sharpe, and other observers. For this reason, they embrace and welcome her.
All I'm saying is, hold up, ladies. There's an opportunity here. Go for it. Let that girl shine. I'm not talking about on the court. You compete against her, you try to take her out. Try to beat her. I get that part. But I'm talking about let that girl shine marketing-wise. Let her get her bag. Find a way to maximize off of it and create an opening for yourself so you can get yours.
The message is unambiguous. The bright spot that can lift the WNBA's ominous clouds is Caitlin Clark.
They realized the star power of Caitlin Clark could lift the profile of the entire league. Now, I have been struggling to understand why WNBA players and female members of the sports media could not see the big picture. Now, I'm starting to think they see the big picture, they just don't want it.
The players and the authorities would be better off appreciating Caitlin Clark and her accomplishments on and off the basketball court rather than disparaging her. She has not only broken multiple records, but has also single-handedly improved the image of women's basketball and women's sports in general. What do you think? Do ESPN and the WNBA have good reason to criticize Caitlin Clark and her fans? Or are they prejudiced and uninformed? Please share your thoughts in the comment section. Remember to like, share, and subscribe, and we'll see you in the next one.